Hey there, Mountaineers! Welcome to episode 17 of Historyland. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt, and in this episode we're going to talk about the history of the Main Street Electrical Parade. Let's get started. When you think about Disneyland, what comes to mind? Maybe it's the excitement of the rides, the relaxed atmosphere of watching the boats go around the rivers of America, or the sense of nostalgia when you get to think back to a time when you went with your friends or loved ones. One thing's for sure is that feeling you get at the end of the day when you watch the fireworks or Fantasmic or one of the parades. And no parade better defines nostalgic Disneyland experience better than the Main Street Electrical Parade. The idea for the parade begins all the way back in October of 1971 when Walt Disney World had just opened with its theme park, the Magic Kingdom, waterfront, and its 2 hotels. And guests were looking for things to do after the park closed, and so an idea was pitched that would perform a night show utilizing the waterfront of the Seven Seas Lagoon. And on Monday, October 25th, 1971, the electrical water pageant premiered on the Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake. The parade utilized 14 floats that were brightly colored with many lights. The show was an instant hit and can still be seen to this day. Despite Disneyland not having a body of water for a floating parade, Imagineers figured a land-based version would work too. Disney originally outsourced the project to a Chicago-based company, whose name I can't find so it might be unconfirmed. But as time went on and only 2 months left until its premiere, Disney took over and finished the float themselves. They ended up having to hand tint and install over 500,000 light bulbs. And in the summer of 1972, the parade officially debuted.
We'll be right back with more Historyland.
Out of the darkness it will come, big as 2 city blocks, with 700 legs, 5,000 eyes, and it feeds on electricity. When you see it, you'll never forget it. It's the Main Street Electrical Parade, part of the magic of the Walt Disney Company. Weekends at Disneyland.
On June 17, 1972, the Main Street Electrical Parade made its official debut. It was revolutionary, presenting a wonderful, innovative entertainment totally unlike traditional parade floats. The narration was done by the voice of Disney himself, Jack Wagner, but you probably wouldn't recognize it as it was completely synthesized. While the main melody, a non-Disney composition called Baroque Hoedown, had a few other melodies thrown in there. When You Wish Upon a Star, Fire and Ice, and Follow the Leader. The parade itself was the brainchild of Robert Janney, who was Disneyland's longtime director of entertainment. He was inspired by a display of lights that was shown at the opening day of Walt Disney World in 1971. For Disneyland, he made elaborate scenes for motorized cars, then outlined them with a grand total of 500,000 lights, and had hidden drivers drive down a darkened Main Street. This 20-minute spectacular festival pageant of nighttime magic and imagination and thousands of sparkling lights and electro-synthe-magnetic musical sounds ran for 24 years with only 2 interruptions, one in 1975 and 1976 for America on Parade to celebrate America's bicentennial. When it returned, the parade was longer, had flashy new floats, including the iconic Elliott float, and featured a new ending with a new patriotic climax. The second was in 1983 when the Flights of Fantasy parade had its short run. Because of the overwhelming success of the parade, a duplicate was made for the Magic Kingdom that debuted on the same day as the return of Disneyland's version. The Magic Kingdom version ran from 1971 to 1991, where it was then shipped off to Disneyland Paris for its opening. It ran there from 1992 to 2003, where it was shipped to Hong Kong Disneyland for its opening. But strangely, the parade never made it to the destination and is still missing to this day. In 1985, a third version of the parade was made for Tokyo Disneyland that ran from 1995, when it was then replaced by Disney's Fantalusion. That played until 2001, when Main Street Electrical Parade returned as the Tokyo Disneyland Electrical Parade Dreamlight, where it still runs to this day. Fantalusion was then shipped to Paris, where it replaced the Main Street Electrical Parade, and it played there until 2012. But Disney announced that the Disneyland version would be ending in October of 1966. When Disney announced this, the fan reaction was so strong that Disneyland's attendance surged so much that the date of its ending was pushed back to November 25th, 1996. It was then replaced with Light Magic in the spring of 1997, and while it was massively promoted, it was pretty disappointing as a follow-up to Main Street Electrical. And just when guests thought the parade would be gone forever from Disneyland, they were pleasantly surprised when Disney made a huge announcement later in 2001.
We'll be right back with more Historyland.
Did you know every episode of Historyland is made possible because of viewers like you? Thanks to Patreon, we can continue to make high-quality episodes you love, like this one. As always, you have access to our amazing Discord server and videos on YouTube, but for a bit more, you get access to the Yodeler tier, which gives you sneak peeks of upcoming videos and your name in each Historyland video. In the Heralder tier, you get exclusive access to live tapings of Historyland and more behind-the-scenes goodies. And for just a bit more, our Bobsledder tier gives you access to have your voice in an episode of Historyland and have creative input on videos. Here's a special thanks to this month's patrons. After finishing up in Disneyland, its version of the floats were sent to the Magic Kingdom, where it replaced the 20th anniversary show Spectro-Magic on May 21st, 1999. The parade ended its run at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando in April of 2001, and Spectro-Magic was brought back the following day. The Main Street Electrical Parade floats were then sent back to California for the parade's return to Disneyland. But these plans changed after Team Disney Anaheim saw the poor attendance figures for the spring break season at Disney's California Adventure, and feared that the park would fail to attract large crowds during the crucial summer season unless they had a big draw. So, on April 25th, 2001, Disney announced that the popular Main Street Electrical Parade would be coming to Disney's California Adventure on July 2nd, 2001, in honor of the first summer of the park. With DCA not having a main street, the show was renamed to Disney's Electrical Parade. Even the float was renamed, and was a hit with guests. However, it did not affix the problem with DCA's poor attendance. Many guests would just buy a park hopper ticket, spend the day in Disneyland, and then head over to DCA to watch the parade. Despite it failing to bring in the crowds, Disney's Electrical Parade ran there for 10 whole years. In 2001, the parade made its way back to the Magic Kingdom, where it played until 2016. The parade had still had the modification from when it ran at DCA. It then made a surprise reappearance at Disneyland in January of 2017. The Disneyland run started on January 20th, 2017, and was planned to run through June 18th, 2017, but due to popular demand, it was extended to August 20th, 2016. Disney has not made any announcements regarding the parade's future. The Main Street Electrical Parade had an amazing run, lasting almost 47 years, and while not always on a main street, it will always have a special place in the hearts of those who've seen it. And that's the history of the Main Street Electrical Parade. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to like the video and share it with your friends. If you got to experience the show in any capacity, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and check out my Patreon. Also, if you haven't already, check out my Discord server, where we have amazing Disney conversations and lots of Disney-related memes. And if you haven't already, check out my weekly podcast, Matterhorn Mondays, that I do with my good friend Alex the Historian. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great big beautiful tomorrow.